Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about writing good paragraphs on open response or short answer questions. First, we're going to read an article about Sojourner Truth, who was an abolitionist before the American Civil War. So that means she was a woman who thought there shouldn't be slaves, and so she helped to make them free again. She's very well respected, kind of a hero in American history. And I chose this article because we've been reading The Wise Old Woman, and there's three characters. There's the Lord, who's cruel, there's the old woman who's wise, and there's the son who risks his life to save his mom. So you could say he's kind or loyal or brave. So as we read, I want you to think about these three characters and which of them Sojourner Truth is most like. So here we go. Synopsis. Sojourner Truth was an African American leader. She fought against slavery. Slavery is an awful part of American history. Millions of African Americans were owned by other people. They were forced to work for white Americans. Truth was born a slave around 1797 and escaped to freedom in 1826. She fought for equal rights for African Americans and women. A life of slavery. Sojourner Truth was born with the name Isabella Baumfree around 1797. Her mother and father were both slaves. The Baumfrees were owned by a white family in New York. The Baumfree family was separated in 1806. When she was 9 years old, Truth was sold with some sheep for $100. She was sold twice more over the next 2 years. She finally came to live on the property of John Dumont in New York. There, Truth fell in love with a slave named Robert. He lived on a nearby farm. The two had a daughter named Diana. Robert's owner did not allow him to be with Truth. In 1817, Dumont forced Truth to marry an older slave named Thomas. They had 2 sons and 2 daughters together. Early years of freedom. In late 1826, Truth escaped. She was free. The next year, New York freed all the slaves in the state. In 1843, she started going by the name Sojourner Truth. She dedicated her life to Christianity and fighting slavery. In 1844, she joined an anti-slavery group. The group also supported women's rights. In 1850, Truth published a book about her life. It was called The Narrative of Sojourner Truth, a Northern Slave. Truth started traveling the country giving talks. She spoke about slavery and equal rights. In 1851, Truth spoke at the Ohio Women's Rights Convention. Her famous speech was called Ain't I a Woman? It was printed in many newspapers. Advocacy during the Civil War. During the Civil War, Truth met with then President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. She told him about her ideas and her life. Lincoln freed all the country's slaves in 1863. Truth kept fighting for their rights. She tried to help freed slaves get land from the government. She said that owning land would help African Americans be successful. Death and legacy. As she grew older, Truth continued to give speeches. She talked about equal rights and fairness. She died at her home in Michigan in 1883. Truth is remembered as one of the leaders of efforts against slavery and an early supporter of women's rights. So here is our question we're going to answer. Which character in The Wise Old Woman is the Sojourner Truth most like? Why? Write a well-constructed paragraph with a topic sentence, body, and conclusion, using spelling and capitalization. So an acronym we could use to remember this is RACE. And you can remember this like people run races, cars race. And so what this stands for is to restate the question. That means to say the question again. Okay? ACE is going to be an answer. C is going to stand for cite. And E stands for explain. So we're going to restate the question, answer, cite, and explain. This word cite might be new to you. Cite means to take information from the reading to use as part of your reason. So going back to our question, it says, which character in The Wise Old Woman is Sojourner Truth most like? So this means I have to compare Sojourner Truth to one of our three characters and have to show why they're alike. So if I remember the three characters, we have the wise old woman, who's wise and helps others. We have the cruel lord, and we have the young man, the farmer, the son, who's brave and loyal to his mom. So I know from the reading Sojourner Truth is not cruel. I think that she is most like the wise old woman because she helps others. Some people, though, might think that she's more like the young son because she's brave. But for now, we're going to write about the wise old woman. So first, I'm going to restate the question. To do that, I'm going to say, Sojourner Truth is most like the son in The Wise Old Woman. And you can see how the question is really similar to the answer. I just changed some words around. Next, I'm going to answer. So this is going to be my why. She is most like the wise old woman because she helps others. So this is my reason why she's like the old woman. The wise old woman helped others by solving the riddle, and Sojourner Truth helped others by ending slavery and helping women to be able to vote. Next, I'm going to cite. So that means I need to find some information from our reading. And here, this sentence is really good. Truth is remembered as one of the leaders of efforts against slavery and an early supporter of women's rights. So I'm going to copy this. And because it's a direct quote, it's important that I put quotation marks around it so that the reader knows that I'm not stealing those words and saying they're my own, but I'm borrowing them from another writer. If you don't use these quotation marks, it is like stealing. It's called plagiarism, and that will lower your grades. So now that I have the R, A, and C, I'm going to explain. So when I think about the connection, I think the wise old woman helped people by solving riddles so that the new Lord did not conquer the land. Sojourner Truth helped to free slaves and get women the right to vote. Finally, and remember our question says that we need a conclusion. So in conclusion, an easy way to do that is to restate the topic sentence. So when I think about this, they're both the same because they help people. And the topic sentence is they're most, sorry, I put the wrong person. Excuse me. So I'm going to restate the topic sentence. The wise old woman and Sojourner Truth both worked to help others. There we go. Now we have a 5-sentence paragraph, and we have a really good answer to our reading question. Tomorrow we're going to practice some more on a similar type question. So remember our RACE, and you can use this in future writing. Thanks and goodbye.